We have a new project for you today, and this is located in Jackson County, North Carolina at 35 Flash Point Road. And it is a small property in the village. We wanted to show you how you can go about getting a rough map of your own property. Most villages and counties have a property map viewer, and we're very fortunate that this one has one. So you want to scroll down and find something that says Property Map Viewer and click on it. Okay, now it's brought you up to what's known as a GIS database. Well, we've entered the site now of Jackson County, and it gives you an overall of your county, and then in the upper right hand corner on this particular screen it will show you parcel search, and it's at the bar up at the top to the upper right side. So what you want to do is just to put in the PIN number. You have to include the dashes. So this happens to be our PIN number, and once those are put in, it will take you exactly right to your property. So you hit the search button, and now there it is. You can see this little bitty parcel. That's going to be our project over the next two calls. So we'd like to now look at its attributes, and up at the left hand side we're going to show some of the things that you can do, which is called look at the map layers. And map layers, we click that, and it brings you over to this window where you can see the city limits, the county boundary, your actual map parcel, and hillside shade, major roads, and just things like that. This happens to be in a village, so there are a lot of little intersections. You can see now to this little rectangle or trapezoid that there's a thin line right here, which represents a contour line, which means actually that this little piece of land is on high ground, and you can rest assured that it won't flood in this instance. Now what we're going to do is start to get some measurements of the actual sides of this parcel. This will also be on your deed. Now we're going to go back up to Map Tools because we'd like to see what the dimensions are for our lines. And just for those of you who like to know these things, a bar scale is at the bottom of the page, which is very useful because you could just make a Xerox copy of this, but make sure you have that bar scale on it, and then you can sort of inchworm your way across your property lines by knowing if it's 50 feet, 100 feet, 200 feet, because that line is directly in proportion to what your property is exactly. And now we'll show you how this works when you measure it. So we're going to Map Tools, and we're going to start over here. It opens up this box that says click and release on the map to draw a line. Double click to finish. So we're going to find the upper left hand corner, click on that, and then we're going to pull this pretty little pink line all the way down to that corner, and it magically, when you double click, it will show you that that's 115.5 feet, and that's great to know. Then let's do the other pieces. And this is the only problem with this GIS system. When you do a double click here, it puts the number, oh good, it's over on the corner, that's 59 feet. And then we'll go on up to the next one, and that's double clicks, that's 97 feet roughly, and then go on back and we'll close it up. Perfect, so that's like 61 feet 6 inches. That's all very useful, but the one problem you have is you don't know where the house is. And this is where you need to do some field mapping or actually get a survey done, and we'll continue on now with that. Because we didn't have a survey when we bought the property, we just went ahead and figured out from the pins that were in the ground where the property line was and did some rough dimensions, including the drive. It's on a gravel road. You can see 15 feet and 12 feet from a big maple to the house. It has an 8-foot porch, has a 3-foot offset from the property line, and then we just basically did a little rectangle on a piece of paper showing kind of where the corners were, pine trees were in the back, and just simple things like a little outbuilding. And this got us started. This is good enough for your basic organizational map. Now we're going to show you how to get an aerial photograph using the same GIS system. Isn't this cool stuff? You go up to where it had base map, now you're going to click the aerials button. Oh, isn't that cool? Now you can see the property. And it shows your neighbor's house over here to the left. It shows your other neighbor's house, shows you a big commercial site, a driveway up at the top, and some trees. So what it doesn't really show you well is where the house is located. So in our book, this is a pretty bad aerial photograph. We're going to show you a way to look into a better one, but we like to start with the GIS to get the line links because that does not appear on the next aerial we're going to show you. Now we've pulled up a different browser and we've gotten Google Earth. And we typed in the address. This happens to be 35 Flashpoint Drive, so it doesn't care about your tax parcel number. But what you can see is clearly where your property line might be in our case. It's pretty easy to see that it's right here along this tree line. Comes all the way down. Watch the little hand. And then it goes to the right and then back up again. It's a very narrow piece of property. And the angle with which they do these aerial photographs varies because the curve of the earth, the shadow of the buildings, etc. And so we still don't have a good roof line for this building. When you come up and you don't have enough good information, I really recommend that you get a survey. But if you're just doing planning for your long-range needs, then this is perfectly fine. So I would go and mark on my little map these little arborvitaes. The fact that there are lots of pine trees, you can clearly see them. And then that's really about all I can pull from this picture. Now this is pretty homemade, but this is basically showing the backyard of this property we're working on. There's some big pines at the back. I've just estimated them visually where they were and just showed clumps on the right, clumps on the left, big pines off the property line. Things that are clearly on the property line, I go ahead and just sketch in. It doesn't have to be to scale. I think you just need to be volumetrically close. If you can see this, but up at the top left of the screen, it says Show Ruler. And then you click on the Show Ruler, and it brings up a box which is going to tell you about how many lengths, lines, miles, feet, whatever you want to set it to feet because we're dealing with feet. And then you'll go ahead and use this active cursor to click on your property line, bring it on down to where you're pretty sure the corner is. It helps if you have a hedgerow, a fence, a big fat tree, some knowledge, and then you click about where that is. And and also you have the line length from your survey that you did earlier that you got from the county, and you can actually use that number and then make your number that you're drawing match up with that. So you can export the map to your desktop, and you have to tell it where to go because it says go to maps and you want to tell it to go to your desktop. Or you can take the same little image and do a screenshot, which on many computers the keyboard is just Command-Shift-4. This is on a Macintosh. And it brings up a little cursor, and then we're just going to screenshot the area and include the scale as part of this screenshot, because if you want to just take this to your Xerox machine, then at least you've got a base map that's okay, that's just great. So we're going to screenshot that. Makes a little noise. And that's going to go to your desktop. Now we've opened up this screenshot, and look at that. You've got a nice bright colored thing, and it's got the scale down at the bottom. So you can just Xerox that, and then you're going to want to enlarge your property to a size that's going to work better for you, which we like to use 1/8 inch scale, and we're going to show you how to do that right now. So we just basically printed that screenshot on a nice little 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, just to orient it. You know, you've got the scale still down here at 50, and there's our site. This is known as an engineer scale, and you'll see that it has 30 over on that side. On this side, it says 50. This side, it says 10. And this is per the inch, there are 10 feet, 50 feet, 30 feet. In this case, 30, an inch, is from here to there. We wanted to find 50 feet, and we're really close to it. This is a really simple technique. It's not perfect. It's better to get a real survey, but if you're doing things at home, it's okay. So from here to here, at 30 scale, you're close to being 50. So you could, 50 is actually right here, so you could actually blow it up slightly on a Xerox machine, or you could just use this measurement. So right now, we're going to say we're doing things at 30 scale. We're going to show you how to enlarge it so you get it to scale on your drawing.